Good evening, everyone. I'd ask that you would please rise as the Reverend Dr. Douglas Dent will lead us in an invocation, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we gather tonight and ask that you would share your love of justice with those who administer our city. Help them to govern with wisdom and compassion, so that the poor and powerless are treated fairly and with justice. Open their ears to the cries for help from those caught in cycles of poverty, abuse, or violence. Give them wisdom to know how best to respond, and the courage to do the right thing, even when it may not be popular. And under their guidance, may all the people flourish. May there be lasting peace and plenty for all. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. It is 5:30, February 3rd, 2020. I'll call this meeting of the Fergus Falls City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Here.
Yep.
Here.
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 We have a quorum. First item of business on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Now we'll call on our city administrator, Andrew Bremsa.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Members, good evening. On your desk this evening, we did print off a new agenda. There has been a few items that have been added. I'll just quickly, for the benefit of viewers at home, read those. We're adding a resolution approving a 7-year lease with Auditel Telecom for fiber connections, which is an existing lease, to the consent agenda. A resolution awarding a contract for disease tree removal and tree trimming services under awarding of bids directly after this. And then also a TIF discussion related to the dairy property under staff reports.
Thank you, Andrew. And with that, I would entertain a motion accepting the amended agenda.
For that, Your Honor.
Thank
I'll
you,
second
Jim.
it.
Thank you, Brent. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We have no public hearings this evening. Under awarding of bids, as I mentioned, we will need a resolution awarding a bid contract for disease tree removal and tree trimming services. And if we have any questions, I'll call on our Public Works Director, Greg Taylor. Good evening, Guy.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Yes, as stated, we have before you a resolution to approve a tree contractor proposal. We had publicized a request for proposals in the Daily Journal, on the city's website, and then 3 proposals were sent to separate contractors, just inviting them to the bid on this. We received only one in return from Cars Tree Service, and their bid was complete and on time. Their proposal is to remove Dutch elm disease trees that the city marks, and then to also do the tree trimming service that the city forester directs them to. And then they will also be on hand to take care of any storm damaged trees if we have need for that. Their proposal is based on a historic average of tree removals. So what they've bid is about $165,000, and that's based on that historic average. As indicated in the memo, we have budgeted up to $180,000 for tree work for 2020. But hopefully we won't use it all. That's tall order, but that's what we hope. So it's to approve the resolution to award this contract to Cars Tree Service for the years of 2020 and 2021.
Thank you. Any council have any questions for Guy? If not, would someone like to offer that resolution?
I'll make that.
Thank you, Brent.
I'll second.
Thank you, Krista. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Here. Yes.
That resolution is
But I
approved.
am here.
Under petitions and communications, we have a number of updates this evening. We'll start with an update from the Fergus Falls Public Library. We'll call on Gail Hedstrom, our Library Director. Good evening, Gail.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Shire and members of the council. I appreciate this opportunity to give you a little quarterly update of what's going on at the library right now. And I want to thank you for your support as you've come into the library to visit. I've appreciated your kindness. The employees of Fergus Falls have been so supportive and patient with answering questions, and I'm grateful. This is truly a great place to be and work. So my intent is just a little update that's not going to be data laden, because public libraries file their annual reports with the state of Minnesota in April. So after that time, I'll come back with data regarding circulation statistics and such. But in the interim, I can tell you that we do know that we're seeing about a 17% increase in library use since the opening of the new building. And about 500 people a day are entering the space. Now, none of this was surprising, because historically, when libraries build new buildings and or remodel, they do see an increase in use. And so our goal is going to be, try to maintain that increase and not see a decline. So we're going to work diligently to do that. Another reason why we see use increase is because people see this new space as being kind of everyone's on an equal footing. No one's been there, so if you've never been there before, you're just like everyone else. It's a first-time visit. And of course, the awareness from the campaign to build the building creates a lot of awareness and curiosity about the site. So the library, having doubled in size and increased in busyness, we're spending a lot of times working on opportunities to increase our efficiencies in the work we do. So we've been focusing on some system redesign and design thinking so that we can get more done in less time. And it's a great opportunity for the library staff to work collaboratively to solve problems. So in 2019, we added the position of an early childhood librarian. From April to December, her programming had 5,000 people in attendance, so we would definitely deem this a successful endeavor. Our ability to provide early learning opportunities and early literacy skills really helps children to develop self-esteem and contributes to their academic success going forward, and we believe builds a strong foundation for our community. So the use of the library and the attendance and the programming demonstrates that the community truly does see the library as a value-added service, that it's their third space, a gathering place, a place for civic engagement. And I also want to encourage people to recognize the public library as a partner in continuing education and economic development. We live in a knowledge economy where goods and services are driven by knowledge created, and libraries are positioned well to provide access to necessary information needed to do that. The library is also able to respond to the needs of our convenience culture with access to digital content and online databases actually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the libraries serve as a place for continuing education as well as a remote office for many people in and around our community. Now, as we begin our journey into 2020, and that's all about seeing clearly, right? We hope to help clear the path to library use for other people by removing barriers to access. We're going to be focused on removing both perceived barriers, the idea that maybe I don't belong at the library, as well as those real barriers such as I don't have transportation to the library, which can be a significant issue for some people in our community. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to help people access the resources that they need. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Gail, thanks to you and all your staff for the work that you do and the important work in the community. It's hard to believe that that building's been open a year now, but it has, and it's a real asset to the community. So again, thank you to you and your staff.
Thank you very much.
Item number 2, I'll call on our City Finance Director, Bill Sonmore, to introduce our City of Fergus Falls investment update. Good evening, Bill.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tonight we have Mike Hessian here with Advanced Capital Group. And our city investment portfolio is managed by Galliard Capital Management. And so as a separate group, we have Advanced Capital come in and work with us on the investment committee. And Mike will talk to you about that a little bit. But as far as oversight, are we going in the right direction? Kind of reviewing the performance of the actual money manager as well. So I'm just going to call Mike up here. And you have on your desks a handout that goes through our 2019 in review. So I'll let Mike take it.
Good evening, Mike.
Good evening. Thank you. So once a year, I present this annual report. You should have it in front of you. And if you look at page 2 of that report, it shows that This is the fund, the long-term fund for the combined city assets. And over time, since 1996, when this is tracked, that's grown to $28.8 million. And the middle part of that page shows the performance for this last year, 2019. For the calendar year 2019, performance was a return on the total investment was $1,524,000. So exceptionally good return for a period where interest rates are extremely low, but $600,000 of that was interest. The rest of that was because bonds, yields were falling, so bond prices are increasing. If that reverses, like it has been going up and down recently, then we would see a decline. But this 2019 was an exceptional year for the return. We compare the return of this fund on page 3, some different benchmarks, the overall market index and peer groups. In percentage terms for the past year, it's up 5.4%. And each of these periods that you see on page 3, the return of your fund is better than that of the index after fees. On page 4, this is a reminder of how these funds are governed. There's an investment policy statement that describes how the funds should be invested. State statutes also dictate how city reserve funds can be invested and follow those rules and report on compliance. But the City Council has approved and adopted the policy and accepts this annual review. There's an investment committee that meets quarterly that goes over the results of this. And our firm, Advanced Capital Group, serves as an independent oversight to the investment manager listed below. The investment manager is Galliard out of Minneapolis. The fund is in compliance with the investment policy on page 5. And then lastly, something different for this year, on page 6, we did a fee comparison. Galliard charges a management fee of 0.17% of the assets, and we compared that to a peer group of 156 other investment managers. And there's only, out of that 156 managers, there's only 4 that had a lower fee of what you're currently paying. And 3 of those are passive index approaches, not designed to beat the index like your fund has. So your fee is extraordinarily good. And actually, it's been a fee that's been grandfathered in for ever since you started with Galliard. And if you were to go to Galliard right now, the fee would be between 25 and 30 basis points, so almost double of what you're paying now. So that's good news as well.
Thank you very much, Mike. And Anthony was on the investment committee for 2019, so you'll take credit for the.
I'm going to take credit for the growth.
Does anyone on the council have any questions for Mike or for Bill or Anthony? Great. Thank you,
Okay,
Mike.
thank you.
All right. Item number 3, we'll have another update, and we have Annie Decker, Executive Director of Greater Fergus Falls, with the 2019 report. Good evening, Annie.
Good evening. Thank you for having me this evening. So for the council members, you'll see in front of you, you've gotten a lovely book printed courtesy of Victor Lundeen's. For those in the public and the audience, it's available on our website, greaterfergusfalls.com. So I'm very excited to be giving you kind of an overview of what we've done since May of 2019. Here we go. So just a quick overview. I'll tell you a little bit about, remind everybody what Greater Fergus Falls is. I'll talk about our strategic framework, which is what guides our work as we work day to day. I'll talk about all four of our goals, and then we'll tell you about what we're looking ahead in 2024. So a little bit about Greater Fergus Falls. Those of you that don't know, it was created in July of 2018. It's a nonprofit economic development corporation. So while we're not part of the city, we're very lucky and grateful to have a service agreement with the city to do economic development for the city. And this is a great way to structure economic development. If you look over the years across the state of Minnesota, several municipalities and metro areas have moved economic development from outside the walls of City Hall into a nonprofit. There's several reasons why this is beneficial to communities. We're able to work deals a lot faster, kind of flush out maybe deals that aren't so good, and we have a bigger opportunity to fundraise and apply for grants so we can focus more money on helping current businesses and recruiting new businesses and helping current businesses. A couple of things as I've been here the past 8 or 9 months that are good to note. We're governed by an 18-member board of directors, and our board doesn't review or approve any type of developments or proposals that come toward us. So obviously that's all up to the city, whether it's pulling a building permit or having to go in front of the planning commission or city council. Our board does not make those decisions. They simply govern our work and help us with different initiatives and that type of thing. I have been here since May of 2009, and we have a lot of great things that are going on. So there's just a picture of our board of directors. That was of last year. We have a few that have left and a few that have started for 2020. So just a reminder of what our mission is. Our mission is to support and grow the area business community. Obviously, our current businesses are one of our most valuable assets. The better they do, the better we do as a community. We want to help revitalize our local economy and recruit new businesses to come in Fergus Falls. So just a high level of the framework. And again, I'm going pretty fast, but it goes in order of this book in front of you. Business development and attraction is our first goal. Marketing and promoting our community, being very proactive in helping market our community as a place to do business, not only within Fergus Falls, but in other metro areas, other states, and nationally. Working with a lot of local partners. There's a lot of folks and entities in our community that overlap some of our same goals, so we work closely with them to make sure we're having the maximum impact of our efforts, we're not duplicating efforts, and we're not competing for some of the same grants that are available. And then lastly, organizational sustainability. I know there's been several efforts over the year for economic development, and it's important for us as an organization that we're putting the policies and procedures in place so this is an organization that sticks around for the long term. So just a high level since May, our first goal, business development and attraction. Since May of last year, we've met with owners or representatives of over 80 businesses within Fergus Falls. We've worked with 22 entrepreneurs wanting to start businesses in the community. We helped a total of 6 new businesses start and launch their business in Fergus. I won't go through all of them. Some of you have heard of some of these: Sugar Bomb, Luna Mountain Marketing, Valley Christian Counseling. That's a counseling center that is located in Fargo. We helped them open a new office in Fergus Falls. Pure Aesthetics, they opened on New Year's Eve. That is a medical spa, laser, Botox type facility, and that's a really great resource in our community because prior, the closest you could get that service was in Fargo, so we're keeping a lot of folks within our community. We supported several economic development projects, and we're currently working with 23 businesses that are located already in Fergus Falls that are looking to grow or expand. Another really important element of business development and attraction is really building a robust portfolio of all of the commercial and industrial sites that we have in our community. 83% of site selectors, those are the folks looking to relocate a business, redevelop a property or that type of thing, go online first. And so it's really important that we have a go-to place to list all these available properties. We work very closely with the local realtors, and we also monthly go around town and make sure that we are very familiar with all the buildings that are available, because the more we can promote and have a resource for the properties available here, the better chances we have to spur development. You can see kind of a little listing of the types of buildings we have available here. We also have an internal list of properties. There's some property owners that have properties that are available for sale. They don't necessarily want to make it public, but we have been able to match people with those spaces as well. So we have great relationships with the local real estate agents, and if folks have properties that they want listed on our site, they're more than happy to contact us for a free service available to the Fergus Falls area. We spent about 100 hours of time the past few months putting together this list, and just in the past 8 months, we've had over 1,300 direct hits to our website on that available sites list. So it's been a very valuable tool for our community. Another important element is workforce development. I'm sure a lot of you hear about that. Right now in the state of Minnesota, there's more jobs available than there are people. So businesses have really had to shift how they are working hard, not only to attract new employees, but to also retain the ones that they have. And in all the businesses we visited, that by far is the #1 challenge that people are seeing, is trying to find good employees, trying to keep the employees they have. So we're doing everything we can to try to help that. If you look in your book as well, I think I put an insert in there. We do a series of educational trainings that we are able to do in partnership with M State and from a grant from West Central Initiative. And right now we're kind of in the the first third of our 3-month series of workforce development trainings that we hold every Tuesday. So our next one that we're having actually tomorrow is to teach employers the importance of employee engagement and things that they can do to implement within their business and also measure their employee engagement to hopefully increase that so it helps their business. We're currently working with 6 businesses in town to help them with their recruitment and retention efforts. We partnered with the school district, the work-based learning coordinator. That's a new position at the school district that's working to provide student experiences for existing businesses here. So for those kids that maybe don't want to go pursue a 4-year degree, they want to teach them all the options that are available for them to stay here in the community. So we partnered with them and several local businesses so students are able to job shadow and do different internships and that type of thing to learn about the careers available in Fergus Falls. We host the annual Minnesota Manufacturers Week, which is done in October, to the community and with the schools as well to provide them experiences and career opportunities in our local manufacturers. And we also participate in the annual West Central Minnesota Career Expo, which is a big event held at Kennedy Secondary School that brings in a lot of different colleges and businesses and employers and brings in several high school students to learn about all the different opportunities. From a marketing and promotion standpoint, again, it's really important to be proactively marketing the available sites we have, the incentives, how great our community is. You know, we're in an age right now where information is constantly pushed at you, so we work really hard through several different marketing mediums to get our message out there. We've designed a new logo and branding campaign. We've developed marketing materials. We received a $1,900 grant to help do a new website. We launched our Business for Breakfast monthly event, so that's kind of in place of the community conversations that were held prior. We've had 3 of them now. We've gotten between 10 and 20 people at each of them, which is fantastic. They're open to the public. Breakfast is on your own, but we rotate through the local restaurants in town, and it's been very well received. So I encourage everybody to come attend those. They're the 4th Thursday of every month at 7:30. We've spoken to over 23 service groups and organizations about Greater Fergus Falls and what we do, and we've distributed over 25 press releases, 20 which were published. So thank you to the Journal for helping us spread the word about the good stuff we're doing. I won't go into all the details on this, but we've really heavily focused on our social media presence as well. Through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that type of thing, we see a very large reach with the content that we post. We get about an average of 2,000 to 2,500 organic impressions, which that means that's how many people see what we're posting on their feed, and those are unpaid, so that has no money behind it. You can see that's our #1 post was when we helped promote the RFP for the Kirkbride Master Plan. We had over 10,000 people who saw that, which was fantastic. And then just from a public outreach standpoint, we are always trying to spread what we're talking about and what we're doing. So obviously following us on our social media platforms, coming to the breakfasts, coming to the training events. And then if local contractors, business owners, realtors, obviously reach out to us as well so we can help explain all the things that are happening in town and all the resources that are available. I know since we've launched our website, we have a pretty robust section of all the different incentives that are available for businesses to help them buy property, do remodeling, buy equipment, and even to train their employees. And so we've had a lot of businesses reach out to us to say how can they help promote those incentives as well, which has been fantastic. We track everything that we do because a lot of times it can be hard to prove your ROI on economic development if you don't necessarily see dirt moving per se. A lot of times, as you know, projects can take a very long time. So since May, we had 109 different unique inquiries of folks who either wanted to expand in Fergus, buy a site in Fergus, needed space, and that just kind of lays out the different types of inquiries that we received last year. From a framework standpoint, obviously our partnerships, we have a great partnership with the City of Fergus Falls and the Port Authority. We work very closely with the Chamber of Commerce. As we're going to visit businesses, we want to ensure that, businesses aren't bombarded by people who want to visit with them. So we work with the Chamber to make sure we're not visiting the same businesses and we just share information with each other. We work with, Natai and I helped at one of the Otter Cove fundraisers. That was a fairy tale breakfast with princesses event. And so we work with a lot of entities in our community. And then lastly, just from an organizational sustainability standpoint, like I said before, it's just really important that we are build a strong foundation so we're able to stay here for the long term and have a long-lasting impact. And looking ahead, so for 2020, we obviously, all these metrics that we spoke about as a board, we set kind of goals of what we want to see achieved in 2020. In addition to that, some of the initiatives we're working on, we've seen a very, very high need for folks to help people start their new business. And with a staff of 2, it can sometimes be challenging to give these startups the time that they need. So we're working with a lot of different entities to develop kind of an entrepreneur initiative to try to match business owners who want to start with, a one-on-one kind of business coach or mentor to help them through the process, in addition to providing them with training, kind of the best practices you need to know as a business, because we're not able to provide that level of support. We don't want to see those businesses not open, so we're working to develop a solution to that problem. We're being extremely proactive in our outreach to the Fargo-Moorhead, Grand Forks, Alexandria, St. Cloud, and metro markets. I go often, sometimes alone, sometimes with some of my board members, to pitch to some of these developers that are doing development in other communities. So, like for example, in Fargo, we met with the Kilbourne Group and Epic Companies. Those are 2 big developers in that area that are very interested to learn about the opportunities in Fergus Falls. We're doing a strategic marketing campaign with Leighton Broadcasting. So we have a few different things going on with that. We do we started a monthly podcast, Why I Chose Fergus Falls. The first one aired, I think it airs every Thursday at 10:35 a.m. on KBRF. And then they replay often, and they're going to be available on our website too. But the whole logic behind that is we want to feature, more subtly, but folks that either have chose to stay in Fergus or move back to Fergus or take a job in Fergus, why they love it here and why it's important to them, with the ultimate goal of promoting our community and telling others why it's so great to be here. We're also working with the Port Authority to develop kind of a more streamlined and proactive approach in promoting the Port Authority-owned property. And then we're continuing to work with businesses and solicit feedback on how we can make the development process easier for people to develop in town. And then we're working with several businesses in town. There's a big training grant coming up that's only available once a month. So there's probably about 6 or 7 businesses in town that want to apply, and we're working with them to make sure that their application can be strong so they can get the funding to train their employees. And then at the end, I just want to say thank you to our board and the city for our wonderful partnership, and our investors. I know we haven't been around for a long time, but we're working hard to make sure that we stick around. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Annie. And I'll just say that I know that the work in economic development is incredibly challenging, and we're just really fortunate and Fergus to have you and Natai working on this. So thank you for your work. Any questions of the council? Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for the partnerships. All right, next on the agenda, we have a proclamation declaring February 13th, 2020 as Giving Hearts Day. I'll go ahead and read that proclamation. Whereas Giving Hearts Day was started in 2008 by Dakota Medical Foundation and Impact Foundation as the first 24-hour regional giving event of its kind, with the Alex Stern Family Foundation joining them as a co-host in 2014. Whereas Giving Hearts Day is a gateway for citizens to connect with charitable organizations doing important work improving health and quality of life across our state. And whereas the Dakota Medical Foundation, Impact Foundation, and Alex Stern's Family Foundation jointly supported the Impact Institute to dramatically improve fundraising efforts of nonprofit organizations by equipping them with data-driven resources, training, and coaching. And whereas last year more than 30,000 caring donors gave $16.3 million on Giving Hearts Day, and since its inception, Giving Hearts Day has raised over $70 million to support regional charities. And whereas Giving Hearts Day 2020 includes over 480 nonprofit organizations and charitable funds, spans the entire state of North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota, and includes 7 nonprofit organizations in our own city of Fergus Falls, which are Inspiration Point, Productive Alternatives, Health Resources Center, LB Homes Foundation, A Wife Like Me, Lutheran Brethren Seminary, and the Fergus Falls YMCA, as well as additional organizations with local representatives. And whereas our Giving Hearts 2020 goal is to inspire more than 50,000 Giving Hearts to support charity on Giving Hearts Day, many of whom get to experience the joy of giving for the first time, making us the most generous region on the planet. Now therefore I, Ben Shire, Mayor of the City of Fergus Falls, do hereby proclaim February 13th, 2020 as Giving Hearts Day in the City of Fergus Falls, Minnesota. We have representatives from those 7 nonprofits with us this evening, so thank you for your work and all of your work. And I'll call on Tam Anderson. Do you just want to kind of give us an idea of the local impact of your...
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good
Rock
evening.
on the suit. Thank you for that. And council members and community, thank you for the opportunity and thank you for reading the proclamation. That means a lot to nonprofits in Fergus Falls. It's neat that we got to follow Greater Fergus Falls because, you know, they do a great job and we love it here. That's why you serve here. That's why you're the mayor here. That's why my family and I live here. And that's why we have a lot of really great nonprofits here. And, you know, I think the nonprofits really are the heart and soul of a community. And it just goes from, you know, helping children up to the aging, helping people with disabilities. And they're kind of the quiet behind the scenes group, except for tonight, because now we've got red hearts and all of us and reds. But we want to kind of give you an overview of kind of what it is. You read the proclamation, but it's February 13th, 4 hours. Any gift of $10 or more on that day is doubled up to $4,000 or more. So your impact can be doubled. And all the money, 100% of it stays local. And all you do is you go to productive alternatives, but no. There's a list. I've been on the radio a lot. I keep talking about productive alternatives. But we've got all these wonderful charities, and you can go to givingheartsday.org and you can search by Fergus Falls, you can search by zip code, and you can look at all the different charities that pop up and make a donation. And there's so many, you know, and most people give like six or more charities, because how do you choose? Because there's so many great ones. So thanks again for the support that you guys do and for helping all the nonprofits here in Fergus Falls.
Thank you. I really thank you for all your efforts on this.
Thank
And besides, when else would I get to wear a suit like that?
That's right.